This junior kit includes everything you need in a complete beginner's drum kit. Ideal for 5 to 10-year-olds, this is a great kit to learn on, and the reduced scale will enable kids to learn correct drumming techniques without having to overstretch and struggle. So let's put it together. The kits come complete in one single box, so you won't have too much clutter when you're unpacking. For this video, I'm going to be using a standard drum key that comes with the kit, and a box cutter that you can find at any hardware store. So let's start by unboxing and setting up the junior kit. Okay, so what we've got in the box, we've got the assembly instructions and the contents. We've also got the drum skins for the bass drum and the floor tom. On the second layer, we've got the 2 toms, as well as a box for all the hardware that we're going to need to assemble the kit together. On the third layer, we've got the cymbal, we've got the stool, we've got the floor tom, and we've got the bass drum and the hoops. We've got the boxed snare drum, and finally a box with all the screws, nuts and attachments that we're going to put the kit together with. So let's put the kit together. Okay, so let's take a look at the bass drum and how we assemble that. So we've got the skins. We need to take out the 2 larger skins for this one. Okay, so what we'll find is a plain skin, which is going to be the batter head, and the skin with the Gear4music logo that's going to go on the front of the bass drum. So let's have a look at putting that together. So to get the front skin on, we need to make sure that we work out which is the front of the bass drum. So this connection here, which is going to be for the legs, that needs to be at the front part of the drum. So that's going to be the front bass drum. Out of the accessory box, I've taken the screws and the claws, which we're going to attach the hoops and the skins to the bass drum with. Okay, so taking the front skin, I'm going to place it onto the bass drum and make sure that it's lined up to the attachment where we're going to put the toms. From there, I take the first hoop and I sit that on top of the bass drum there. From here, we need to take the claws and place them over the hoops in line with the attachments on the bass drum itself. So we're going to take these tuning rods, which all come with washers, and these are going to get placed into the claws and attached to the parts on the bass drum to secure the hoops and the skin down. So just make sure that you can attach those in and make sure that they're finger tight, and then we can look at tuning them properly later on. Once that's done, take the drum key and go around each of the tuning rods and just make sure that they're on secure. Okay, so we've done the front skin. Let's take a look at applying the batter head to the bass drum. We use exactly the same method for this. We'll take the drum skin, place it on the bass drum, take the second hoop, place that over the top, and attach the claws and the tuning rods in exactly the same way that we did the front skin. Okay, now we've done that, let's go around with the drum key and make sure everything is tight. Okay, so that's the bass drum all tightened up. I'm going to have a look at the floor tom next. Okay, so from the accessory box, I've got this little bag of tuning pegs and washers which we're going to need to attach the skins onto the floor tom. So let's take off the hoops. Okay, so we've got the floor tom. So to put the drum skin on, we've got to make sure that the floor tom is the right way up. So we want to look for the Gear4music label and make sure that that reads the right way. The top skin for the floor tom also has the Gear4music logo on it as well. If we place this and line this up with the label that's on the drum, then we know that we've got that the right way around. Once that's attached, take the first hoop, place that on the top, and line up the holes in the hoop to the holes in the drum. Then taking the screws and the washers out of the bag, we can start to attach the hoop and the skin to the drum. Okay, so as you'll see with this top skin, we've got 4 tuning rods. If we take the drum key, we can tighten up each one and work opposites. So then we make sure that we're pulling the skin evenly across the drum. Okay, now let's have a look at doing the bottom skin. First of all, we put the skin down and then the hoop. And we do this in exactly the same way as we did for the top skin. Finally, take the drum key and make sure everything is in place. Maybe 2 or 3 full turns will do the trick. And there we have it. Let's move on to the next one. Accompanying the bass drum and the floor tom, we've got the 2 rack toms, which are going to sit on top of the bass drum. Now these are already skinned, so we don't need to worry about attaching those. And finally, we've got the boxed snare drum. So we've got the 5 drums, let's try and put it all together. Okay, so now we've set the drums up, let's take a look at the hardware and open these boxes and see what's inside. So we've got the top of the drum stool, we've got the legs, we've got the arms for the toms, which are going to sit on top of the bass drum, and we've got the bass drum pedal. In here we've got the hi-hat cymbals and the crash cymbal. So if you're using a knife or a box cutter for this, make sure that you don't go too far because it's just going to scratch the cymbal. So the smaller cymbals are the hi-hats and the larger cymbal is the crash. Okay, in the larger hardware box we have the stand for the snare drum, we've got the arms and the floor tom legs, as well as a pair of drumsticks. we've got the hi-hat pedal, and we've got the crash stand. So let's have a look at building the stool first. So this comes in two parts. The first part is the legs. The second part is the adjustable height bar. So I want to get it at the highest point. So I'm going to put the bolt back into the lowest hole and secure that in place. Secure that into the legs and then put the top of the stool on, remembering to tighten up using this nut here. Okay, so let's have a look at building the crash stand. Again, this comes in two parts. We've got the legs and we've got the straight arm, which is going to attach the cymbal onto the top. Place those into the legs and tighten that up to the required height. Set the angle that you want for the cymbal to balance and then tighten that up as well. Once that's all secure, we can place that there, ready to put the cymbal onto. Okay, now to attach the cymbal, take off the wing nut, the washer and one felt, leaving the other felt at the bottom there. Place the crash cymbal on the top, followed by the felt, followed by the washer, and finally, to secure that in place, the wing nut. Okay, so let's have a look at building the hi-hat stand. Okay, so we've got the lower half, which has the pedal, and this is going to be attached to the top where we can attach the hi-hats to. So if we take the hi-hat clutch off for now, and take the top bar, place that over the rod, sit that into the lower half, and that's secured, ready to put the hi-hats on. Secure the legs down, and then what we need to do is attach the pedal bar into the bracket and tighten that up as well. To attach the pedal bar to the frame, we need to use the Allen key, which is also included. Okay, so once that's in place, secure that back in. Okay, so now that's in place, let's secure the bolt back in, and that completes the hi-hat stand, ready for us to put the hi-hat cymbals on the top. Next, take the large washer and the felt and place it over the hi-hat rod. The next thing to do is take the first hi-hat cymbal. Place that over the top. Now go back to the hi-hat clutch that we took off earlier. Take the second hi-hat cymbal, thread the clutch through the hi-hat hole, and secure that with the nut at the back. Finally, sit that back on the top, and your hi-hat is ready to go. Okay, so now we've set up the cymbals and the cymbal stands, let's go back to the drums and finish off setting up the kit with the last components. Okay, let's have a look at assembling the snare drum stand. Again, this comes in two parts. So we've got the legs for the lower half, make sure that that is tightened up. We've got the upper half, which again we can tighten that up and slot into the bottom part. Once that's tight, we can open up the three arms on the snare drum stand and place the snare drum on top. If there's any extra room around the handles, we just push them in and that just makes sure that the snare drum's secure. There we go. Now let's have a look at the bass drum and attaching the legs and the rack tom mounts. Okay, let's first have a look at attaching the legs. So you want these two legs here, which have the rubber ends, and they're going to go onto the floor to prevent any scratching. Take the first leg, attach it into the hole on the side of the drum. Once that's in place, tighten that up and repeat on the other side. Okay, so now the legs are in place, that's going to prevent the bass drum from moving around. Now let's have a look at the rack tom arms. Okay, so we've got the two rack tom mounts. These are adjustable, and we can tighten this up so we can have the tom set at the angle that we want. Place that into the top bracket on the bass drum and tighten up. Do the same with the second one. They should fit in neatly because of the locking nuts, so they're not going to go anywhere. Okay, so let's have a look at attaching the bass drum pedal to the bass drum. So again, this pedal comes in two parts. We've got the main part of the pedal and we've got the beater as well. And what we need to do is attach the beater into the top of the pedal, like so. Once that's set at the right height, just tighten that up. That's it, everything in place. Now we can attach that to the bass drum. Sit the top part of the pedal over the hoop and the other two parts underneath. Tighten that up and we're ready to go. Okay, so the final part is to attach the legs to the floor tom. We've got three legs. Each one just slots in to the holes at the side of the floor tom. Tighten those up just so that it balances. Make sure that the legs are pointing outwards, and that's all set. Okay, so now that's everything assembled. Let's put all the kit together. And there you have it. You're all set up and ready to go. This is the standard drum setup, but the heights and angles of your drums are largely personal preference, and it won't take long before you get a feel for what works best for you. The Junior 5-piece is effectively a younger brother to Gear4music's full-size BDK1, and a fantastic learning kit for all you aspiring drummers out there. I've just covered the basics of setting up, so all that's left is tuning up the drum to your personal preference. There are plenty of videos online to help you along with this. We've also added annotations in the video, so you can re-watch specific parts. But if you'd like to learn more about the infant or junior kits, please visit the Gear4music website. Thanks for watching, and happy drumming.